This is how you treat Jesus Christ? Do you understand what I'm trying to get across here? This is serious business, man. I mean, only call yourself a Christian if you're ready for the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And that can be traumatic. For people that are just plugged into the establishment that don't want to rock the boat, when the boat should have been rocked so many times before this, and particularly in 2008, that bankster bailout, I mean, that was a time the boat needed to be rocked like crazy, man. We need a reset of economic reality. This is where it's all coming from. I just want people to really understand where all the problems are coming from. So let's not get at each other's throats on a local level. Okay, that's where we got to heal up. Okay, I don't want to get all going to city council meetings and putting my 2 cents in. I'm right, you're wrong, you're stupid, I'm smart. I'm not doing it, man. I'm not playing. I'm not playing into the devil's hand. I don't want to look. The game's rigged. I don't want to play this game of Monopoly. Okay, so I'm just feel. Look, anybody that's just coping with this scene, man. Yes, speak out. You've got to, but hang in there, survive. I'm a big believer in survival. Do what it takes to survive, man. Okay, yeah, I mean, if you got to, comply and conform to that extent, I mean, look, God understands, I mean, it's not his fault that we need money. God didn't invent money. God knows I wish it was never invented. Could you imagine how different our reality would be if there was no ever such invention? Okay, it's an invention of men, okay, for a purpose, not to facilitate exchange. That's a BS pretext from the pit of hell. That's a bunch of baloney sauce, as my mother would say. Okay? It's bull. Crap. But we had the election recently, and I don't think either side is happy, and they're not jubilant at least. And either side, you see, they've got me talking like we're divided too. You understand? Blue red. You understand? It's just like a football game. Right? And what happens? One side's got the ball, or any other sport like that, right? Soccer, I mean, tennis, it goes on and on, the sports that are like that. So they've modeled this thing after like teams on sports teams or gangs. It wasn't it the red and blue side, remember that? The gang violence and all that? The Reds and the Blues, the Crips and the Bloods, right? So that's what they've done to us. You understand how they're doing this to us? And it's just obvious. This is something, they simplified it. So now it's like a science, this political science crap. Yay, my team, yay, my guy. Hey, I want more of my guys in there. And, and they're going to fix it eventually, even though it's like beating your head against the wall. No matter which side has more power than the other, executive and all the rest of the branches, okay, it doesn't seem to matter. We stay on the same trajectory toward death and destruction, toward greater wealth disparity, wealth imbalance. Do you understand how this works? We're going the direction of China, if you will. All these 55 years since they murdered JFK, since we, as a bunch of frogs, were dropped in the pot to be boiled. It started then. They had to get us plunked in the pot, and then the game really started. Look up Overton window. Look up gaslighting. Okay, these are the methods, these are the scientific methods that they've been using on us to get us divided at a local level, believing we've got to fix it on a local level. Okay, but unless we have sound economic policies from the top, those unsound economic policies are going to be transferred to us. And that's exactly what I'm trying to convey here. Through currency debasement, by way of cost of living increase, cost of living tax. Some say a hidden tax. I say it's in your face tax. If it's stuff you got to pay for literally to continue existing, to continue surviving, to continue living, that's why it's called a cost of living tax, then it's absolutely imperative that you meet that tax, that you pay that tax if you want to live. So this is serious stuff. They mean business. Okay. So this little thing that was invented purportedly to facilitate exchange, make our lives easier, so you don't have to buy the whole cow if you want meat. You can just buy a tenth of the cow or 20th of the cow with the money, right? It's a great idea. I get it, So this is how we've been duped, tricked, deceived, deluded. Okay, God understands it, and you got to understand it. I understand it. But still, I mean, I have to comply enough to survive. I'm trying to. It's a paradox, okay? Because Believers are told, look, when you get it, this is what's going to happen. You're going to hate your life in this world because you're going to understand that evil men are they're running us around by the short hairs on our neck, and they're murdering us at will. And the method they're using is the money. This is what gives them the power and control, because all the sycophantic minions in the line of, between the rudder and the helm, let's say, all the conduit and the implements in between, then this is who's controlling it. So you've got all these people involved in the establishment and protecting the status quo and the direction, the trajectory we're going. Their jobs depend on the problems continuing to persist. I mean, we're in it really deep. I wish more people would talk like me. Honestly, I feel like sometimes I came to the wrong planet. I meant to go to the planet that never heard of money. What the hell's that stuff? No, we just have, we do what we want. We have plenty of everything, and everything's good, man. Don't worry. No. What do you say about disruptive technology? What, the people that could barely conceive of the evil I was talking of. Okay, that after visiting planet Earth, I mean, how could people be so stupid? How could we let this happen to us? Television is the only answer. That they mesmerize us. They put us under a spell. They knew it was going to be a perfect form of manipulation of the masses, mass media, television. What perfect? I mean, the radio, that was great too, but you had to turn on the radio and listen, and still you could think about it, use your imagination more to, think for yourself and wonder what they're talking about, was it straight up or not. But when you've got the visuals in there, the opticals in there, it's a much more powerful form of manipulating us and putting us under a spell. But I don't know how else to explain it, because it does not seem to me to be in an American's DNA to allow us to have gone this far down this rabbit hole to hell, okay? Because that's where we are now, okay? We stepped in the manure up to our noses. We got to grab the bull by the horns and say no more death and destruction, this trajectory. We the people have to do that on local levels, yes. It doesn't mean going to your city council meeting. It just means enlightening your friends and neighbors and family and coworkers and peers and strangers, whoever you get a chance to enlighten and empower, and say, look, be cogent, be straightforward, give them the nuts and bolts, tell them the logical, practical reasons for believing things that, aren't what they seem to be, okay? That we're being manipulated. Okay, get that across to people, that it's an inarguable, irrefutable fact, unequivocal fact, that we are being manipulated, roundly, soundly manipulated. We have been, and we're in a lot of trouble as a result. Okay, and it's all about the money. Do you understand? The devil is in the details. Okay, to use money and the devil synonymously, because the devil, whatever you believe that to be as a metaphor, whatever you think, it's in the hearts of men. Yeah, a lot of people believe that the evil lurks in the hearts of men. So the devil would be neutered, okay, utterly impotent. It would starve to death without money. So, I mean, who can say that wouldn't be a beautiful thing if the devil died? But a lot of people, subconsciously, semi-consciously, inadvertently, unintentionally, you see they're following just by going along with the status quo and saying, I've got too much at stake. I'm too vested in this current establishment that, I don't want to talk about this because, I got a 401k. I'm looking forward to being rich. And even though they're a minimum wage worker at Starbucks, but, they got their hopes and dreams of advancement and pay raises and getting into the executive arena, whatever it is. But a lot of people, they will go along and they don't want to rock the boat. But this boat needed to be rocked a long time ago. And the fact that it hasn't just tells me, man, it's a sinking ship. Okay, that's it. Not just in America, but around the world. And that's why people say America is the best house in a bad neighborhood. The neighborhood being the world and each nation being a house, right? So it's all bad neighborhood, a lot of problems all over the world. Who can deny it? And like a sinking ship, right? It doesn't just go down level, right? It lists. Okay, so one end of it, if you can envision the Titanic sinking, right? So the water starts filling at the heaviest end of the ship that starts dragging it down, or the point of impact, right? And so the ship starts going down, and one end raises up and one end goes down, either the bow or the stern usually. And so what does everybody do? They race to the highest point of the ship when they really, if they knew what the hell they were doing, if they had any advanced knowledge of physics and how the whole thing works, what happens when a ship sinks, they would have been the first ones to get in a raft or get a life jacket or a plank, whatever they could float on, and get the hell out away from the ship as much as possible, because what's going to happen? You see, the smartest ones jump ship early. And that's what I've done. I jumped ship a long time ago, man. I've got no faith in the establishment, no faith in politics. Yes, I did vote, but I voted with cool indifference, man. It's going to take the literal, you hear me, literal hand of God to help us out of this mess. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, man. We've had it. We're cooked if we don't have God's help. Okay, that's it, man. I mean, what's happening? This ship is sinking. And so all these people are telling you, no, the place to go is at the top point, the upper echelons of the ship, the part that's furthest away from the water, because, you've got the most time before you get rescued, or, you think that, hey, maybe the whole thing won't sink and there'll be an air pocket, whatever, stupid logic, you uneducated, unknowledgeable, ignorant, disempowered knowledge you have. Okay, but still, you believe it, and perception is reality, and so that's all you have to teach. And, by example, you're headed for the top end of the ship, the highest point. Okay, you understand what's going on here, and a lot of good people, a lot of smart people. I mean, but they're in the dark, they're confused, they're ignorant, they're discombobulated, and deliberately, because we've been trained to be stupid, basically. They're dumbing us down. This movement of the Overton window, how do you think they do that? How do you think they cook a bunch of frogs, okay, without the frogs jumping out? They do it gradually, slowly, and there's periods where they feel pretty safe about what they're doing, so they turn up the heat a little, like, getting us off the gold standard, allowing the bailout of '08. These are big increases in the temperature. So now it's boiling over. Finally, the rubber's meeting the road, okay, and this is where we're at. We're clambered to the top end of the ship, okay. This is where everybody's dragged us. If you want to survive, okay, it's not in the water. They say, you're foolish, man. The sharks are going to get you. You're going to die of exposure. No, we're the smart ones going toward the top. You're all dead. You're out of it. You're gone. All those that don't prescribe to the establishment, you're the stupid ones that aren't well invested as much as possible, haven't saved up as much worldly wealth as possible to get you through this thing. This is where your safety and security and your freedom is, man. This is the only place. This is your comfort and encouragement is in your worldly wealth. This is the answer at the top end of the ship that hasn't sunk yet. You just keep climbing up, and as people, they jump into the water, well, they're goners, man. They lost the game. They're out of the game of Monopoly. They're dead. They're gone. Forget them. Divorce yourself from them. You can't worry that they're out there writhing around in the water. That's their problem. They made their choice. They made their bed. Let them lie in it out there in the water. You can't worry. It's about every man for himself now. Do you understand how this best house in a bad neighborhood works? Okay, that's what's going on here. We got these migrant caravans with, God knows, it looks like maybe millions of people. Okay, Mexico's just letting them pass through because they know, well, we're going to the United States, so they don't care. That's America's problem, right? No problem. They're supported by, look, George Soros, a multi-billionaire, believe it or not, one multi-billionaire with that power of the money, the power of the purse, can manipulate nations. Yes, that's got what guys like George Soros, and him in particular, because I rarely name people ad hominem, but this guy, from what I know, he is no Jew, okay? You can call yourself whatever you want, okay, but Jews have integrity and honor. Well, actually, people call him Jews. He calls himself an atheist. He says he doesn't even believe in God, so no, George Soros is no Jew, and he's not even a believer, okay? So let's get that straight. And you wreak a lot of havoc with $1 billion, okay? And he's spending purportedly over $30 billion giving into left-wing, like communist, socialist causes, like even stuff that a good classic liberal would wince at. Just say, oh my God, you're kidding me. Is that really true? Or is that a conspiracy theory? No, there really is conspiracies out there. There's conspiracies to manipulate the masses, yes, and to cause conflict and war. And it's not as hard as you think when you've got the power of the purse. When you got that kind of bread, man, you can do it. You can do it. And that's what he's doing. And this UN, I mean, it's just, God knows what the hell the function of the UN is. Just to be a thorn in God's side, but they're a useless pack of idiots as far as I can tell. They're ineffectual, feckless as hell. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Just part of this New World Order cabal, just a, you know, a feckless branch of the New World Order cabal as far as I can tell. So anyhow, we are being manipulated. We got to get it. And what's going to happen to that ship eventually that's sinking? Okay. This is America. That's America. America is the chosen high end of the sinking ship, the best house in a bad neighborhood. What you tell me what's going to happen now, scientifically, using this as an allegory, a metaphor for what's going to happen. What's going to happen to the last people